the answer to come to me by some process of osmosis. I have no clues to simplify this mystery, but now I'm like Sherlock Holmes and I'll be blowing up the baronets and microphone.
Our group has developed an ethical dating program titled Just Relationships. Just Relationships aims to educate young men and women in ethical relationship skills without crossing any religious or cultural boundaries. In this time where most children learn about sex from internet pornography, it is imperative that we educate young people of what consent and respectful, ethical relationships look like. Our group proposes to deliver a series of 30-minute workshops, once a week during Term 3. Terms 1 and 2 will be spent developing the program, and Term 4 will be devoted to analysing the data collected during Term 3. The format of our Just Relationships program is loosely based on the Student Enrichment Program at Marylands High School. Marylands is a low socio-economic suburb in southwest Sydney, with a high population of citizens born outside of Australia. A large percentage of these new Australians are from countries in the Middle East and may consider Australia's teenage dating culture to be alien and immoral, especially when it comes to teenage girls. The Just Relationships format is loosely based on the student enrichment program currently running at Marylands High School. The enrichment program deals with many important issues, however, it uses a traditional pen and paper pedagogy. The Just Relationships program will use a more experiential understanding by design pedagogy as described by Wiggins and McTighe and Augusto Boal. With the guidance of specially trained Just Relationships tutors, students will explore ethical and respectful behaviour through role play and group discussion in a safe and non-judgmental environment. By applying an experiential approach, the students are engaged in a manner that is different to their regular classes. This full-body approach will hopefully engage a different part of their mind and will encourage more reflective learning. We understand that some teachers may not be comfortable teaching in an experiential manner, which is why the classes will be facilitated by trained Just Relationships tutors. At the end of the 10-week program, groups of 3 to 4 students will write and perform a 1 to 2 minute scenario of how they would deal with an ethically challenging situation. The performances and scripts will form the basis of our research.
The objective of our program, Just Relationship, to provide social norm and life skills for Year 7 to 10 students to achieve social management skills and strategies in order for them to prepare for their overall healthy longevity towards their act. The objective. This program includes male and female students. This promotes and highlights the importance of female students, their relationship well-being, which cannot ignore within the Muslim religious cultural school environment. It allows both genders to embrace a positive platform to explore, investigate, and to discuss about social and relationships. Consequently, this will develop the students' personal and social capabilities, and also will alert and focus their thoughts on social awareness in order to assist them to not to be involved in potential crimes or adolescence. Our expectations is students will achieve the following outcomes. 1. Students can achieve effective verbal communication skills. 2. Recognize conduct that exhibits respectful relationship. 3. Students can build their trust with others. 4. Achieve skills and strategies to resolve conflict. 5. Appreciate people with different perspectives. 6. How to resolve family disputes. 7. Establish harmonization. 8. Assist the students to understand their and others' sexuality. 9. Appreciate social etiquette. 10. Students will be able to develop appropriate pathways to cope with their life issues.
Hi, my name is Jo, and I will be talking about the processes required to achieve the goals of the Just Relationships program. After some quick research into the development of different educational programs, such as interventions to reduce dating and sexual violence, and the design of distance education content, I found that there are many existing models that aid in the developmental process of educational programs. These models are referred to as instructional systems of design and aim to design curriculum that impart knowledge efficiently and effectively. In particular, my research led to two main instructional systems of design. The first is called the ADDIE model. The ADDIE model has been around since the early 2000s and are based on the 5 principles of analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. This model has been used in many different contexts, such as nursing and adult education. After consultation with the rest of my group, we decided that the ADDIE model promoted too much of a teacher-centered learning environment and was not appropriate for the culturally diverse nature of Maryland's high school. After further research, we uncovered a second model of instructional systems design that we found more appropriate. It is called the TAPA model. The TAPA model consists of 5 principles of target, accomplishment, past, prototype, and artifact. In this model, students are expected to create an artifact which demonstrates the mastery over the content they have just learnt. According to Moore, the TAPA model is strongly modelled after the idea that teachers should engage in the understanding by design framework, suggested by McTighe and Wiggins. This made my group rethink the end goal of our program. Using the TAPA model, we have amended our Just Relationships program to include the student development of a role play or storyboard artifact, which demonstrates the personal and social learning outcomes of the program.
The effectiveness of the Just Relationships program will be evaluated through the analysis of relevant data collected. Measuring student well-being typically falls within 2 categories: self-reporting survey and observation of the student by outside parties. In order to gain the most accuracy and validity, the program evaluation will utilise triangulation methods, which is particularly important in terms of analysing qualitative data, as it improves clarity and understanding of the data and subsequent findings. Thus, in order to gain the clearest picture of the program's effectiveness, our group will collect 3 types of data. Firstly, students' social well-being will be assessed through a self-reported survey, which uses the Likert scale. This will be administered both before and after the program implementation and the data t-tested, which will enable us to see whether students' state of social well-being improves throughout the program. Secondly, we will take a random sample of students' reflective learning journals as student artifacts to be qualitatively analysed through thematic coding as a means to understand their journeys and the hows and whys of the program's effectiveness. Thirdly, the teachers who taught the enrichment program will take part in a focus group interview to gain insight to their perspectives on the teaching of the Just Relationships program, how students responded to it, and benefiting the evaluation with a general consensus of its strengths and weaknesses. Furthermore, by giving voice to teacher experiences of the wellbeing program, we will keep them engaged in the program's implementation and evaluation process, and thus invested in its success.
The Just Relationship program seeks to change several aspects of the school's culture, with a focus on improving the relationship between student and staff. However, its benefits may also improve the social culture outside the school environment. One way in which the program seeks to change the school culture is the teacher-student relationship. This is done by trying to improve the students' negotiation skills, helping them resolve their conflicts peacefully, whereas currently the culture is that students often don't have the skills to de-escalate their problems. Another feature that tries to improve the school culture is the peer-to-peer interactions. As the program seeks to discourage some of the cliquey culture that is formed within the school. From the program, there is an increased emphasis placed on creating a more inclusive social environment where students' differences are accepted. While at the same time, the program seeks to challenge some of the chauvinistic culture that exists currently within the school by giving students a guideline for respectful conversations between the sexes, while at the same time providing students information about the concept of consent, therefore giving students a better understanding of respectful relationships in a school setting.